Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Federico and you can call me Fede. I am the creator of Hope for Dystonia, the single most comprehensive, empowering and transformative dystonia program out there. I would like to talk to you today about a topic that is a bit esoteric perhaps. However, it is one that is near and dear to my heart, and a lot of people, a surprising number of individuals who suffer from dystonia, frame things in this way as well. And they have a tendency to find me somehow, and we do great work together. So today we will be talking about dystonia and Kundalini. This is an exciting topic, and I want to dive right in. So what is Kundalini, first of all? Kundalini is, in the traditions, a spiritual and physical energy that is described as being coiled at the base of the spine, and it rises up, giving birth to a series of phenomena, some of which are physical, some of which are psychological, some of which are spiritual. And this rise of this energy helps us in our process of personal growth, evolution, and awakening. And in a lot of cases, what happens with this rise of Kundalini is that this energy meets the blockages in the body. And it highlights the places where we are stuck, the wounds that we carry in our body, in our minds, in our hearts, in our spirits. And when these blockages impede the flow of Kundalini energy, then we have symptoms that can be unpleasant. And that kind of symptoms is really a way for our body-mind to ask us to pay attention to the wounds that we carry within. It's a way for the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit to ask us to look within and bring love where it's needed and heal, so that we can create a more easeful flow for this energy and a sense of wholeness in our bodies. So how is this relevant to dystonia? Well, dystonia is a Western term rather than an Eastern one like Kundalini. And dystonia refers to really a constellation of different phenomena. And dystonia can occur for a number of reasons, but often dystonia is linked to trauma, to injuries, to patterns of guarding that prevent the normal flow of electricity in our nerves, that prevent the normal use of muscles in our bodies, that prevent a regulation of the nervous system that would allow us to live more peacefully, more connected to a sense of safety and trust, for example. And so dystonia really is often a pattern of guarding, in my experience, against the rise of this Kundalini energy, right? It is a way for our body, mind, heart to say, you know what, I'm not quite ready for this, and there's an injury here, and I want to protect myself. And so there's a bit of a battle that ensues, right, between something within the body that wants to rise up, that wants to expand, that wants to grow, that wants to feel a sense of wholeness in the body and in the mind. That is on the one hand. And on the other hand, a protector part that says, no, I want to tighten up. I want to prevent this flow of energy from really doing what it seems to be wanting to do. And so what are some of the symptoms of a blocked Kundalini rising? Well, first of all, when this Kundalini rises, we are often facing challenges in our lives. We are at a crossroads sometimes we need to make big choices, or maybe we just experienced something really powerful, like a traumatic event that causes us to need to grow up, to need to move forward and evolve, right? And sometimes the nervous system is overwhelmed to begin with by these events that we go through. And so that's the starting point. As the Kundalini rises, we may begin to receive greater insight and understanding into the nature of our minds, the nature of who we are, the nature of reality itself. However, as this rise meets blockages, we can experience psychological and physical symptoms like spasming, like pain, like involuntary movements. We can experience psychological symptoms like heightened emotions and heightened sensitivity. And this is all part of this process of growth and evolution, and this energy trying to show us all the places in which we are stuck. And so it's really important to have guidance, right, if we are experiencing this kind of thing. Why? Because if we force the flow of Kundalini into channels that are blocked, and we don't attend to those blockages lovingly, we can do damage, right? We can force patterns of energy flow that are not wholesome. We can find ourselves in a situation where we habituate patterns of excessive sympathetic engagement, for example, right? Where our nervous system is on high alert all the time. Or we can overuse one part of the body at the expense of another. And you can see how this kind of can create or exacerbate symptoms of dystonia. So, what do we want to do about this? Well, we need to attend to the blockages lovingly, and we need to create the infrastructure that is needed for this flow of energy so that this flow is even and so that it is as smooth and gentle as possible. What do I mean by creating the infrastructure? I mean that our brain is plastic. And so if we don't use certain parts of us in the body or in the mind, those connections end up being shed. And the connections that we do use end up being strengthened. And so when we have neglected a part of us for a long time, or we never got a chance to really use it and develop it, the infrastructure for the flow of energy in those parts of us is lacking. And we need to rebuild it. We need to create it sometimes, for the first time. So what infrastructure am I talking about? I'm talking about the infrastructure in the nerves, for example. So if I have, for example, a hard time feeling my left arm, and I have a hard time using it, and it's hypotonic, right? So it's kind of dead. I need to teach myself to feel that part of me again. I need to connect with it from a sensory point of view. I need to connect to it from, a motor point of view, right? I need to be able to use it to engage different parts of it. I need to have good proprioception, right? I need to be able to know what the map of my left arm is, how big it is, what kind of volume it occupies, and so on and so forth. That is, say, the more physical kind of infrastructure. But sometimes we need to build infrastructure in our inner landscape, right? And that, of course, is also part of the nervous system, but we tend to think of it as something more abstract. And so what does that look like? Well, we may realize, for example, that growing up, we rarely felt safe. That is something that a lot of people with dystonia share. Or that we never got a chance to really be authentic. Or that, we never developed the capacity to soothe ourselves in a healthy way. And so those are all pathways, if you will, in our nervous systems through which the Kundalini has to rise, right? And so if we don't have experiences that help us be regulated in our nervous system, that help us go from sympathetic engagement to parasympathetic relaxation, back and forth, right, with a natural flowing rhythm, if we don't have that infrastructure, we end up having a rise of Kundalini that is just kind of lopsided, right? It just utilizes the pathways, for example, of sympathetic engagement. And that's not what we want. And so through meditation, through self-compassion, through attachment repair, through a number of techniques that help us build that infrastructure, right? Even as adults, we get to even out the flow of energy in different channels and different parts of our energy body and our nervous system. And all of this is at the heart of my work with Hope for Dystonia. So if you don't know about the Hope for Dystonia method, if you are on a healing journey, I highly recommend that you check out the link in the description below. It'll lead you to the 8 steps of the recovery roadmap. And that is invaluable information that I wish somebody had shared with me when I was in the thick of it. So you'll see through the 8 steps of the recovery roadmap that we really need to look at dystonia healing from a number of points of view, right? We need to help the body build that infrastructure in different ways. Excuse me. And all of this, you know, everything that I said in this video is perhaps a more Eastern way to describe a process that can also be explained in Western terms. Namely, you know, rebuilding the infrastructure in the nervous system that has been shed and neglected because of maladaptive neuroplasticity, right? We just learned dysfunctional patterns. So I hope that this video leaves you feeling curious about discovering the patterns of energy in your body and whether or not you have framed your symptoms and your experience in these terms of Kundalini rising. There is plenty of valuable information for you over at hopefordystonia.com, and especially with the recovery roadmap in the description. And I'll also leave a link for you to book a time to speak so you can share your story and ask questions about how the Hope for Dystonia method could help you as well. So I think that is it for today. I look forward to seeing you guys soon over at hopefordystonia.com. Please like the video. It helps with the algorithm. Subscribe if you want to hear more about dystonia. Comment below with your questions, and I will see you soon. Take care.